I'm currently away from home and I'm trying to take full advantage of that. I'm away from my family, which sucks, but there's a positive way that I can spin this to make this work best, to take full advantage of this. I'm Christopher Chaos and I make content on the internet, but I also have a day job. So I'm trying to take advantage of my time here while I'm away from my family, because I typically have a lot of time that gets taken up by my day job where I work as a contractor for the United States Army. And then I come home and I spend time with my family, having dinner, spending time with my daughter and my wife before my daughter has to go to bed. Now, after my daughter goes to bed, that's when I dedicate time to creating content. I like to, use that time between usually around 8 p.m. till I go to bed, which a lot of times isn't until like 11 o'clock at night or something like that, but dedicate that time to creating content. So I only have a short window of time frame to actually create content in. By the way, you're currently inside the microwave. Enjoy this. So how am I taking advantage of this kind of situation? Well, I'm dedicating all of my free time while I am here to being a better creator. So I don't need to go do anything outside of here. I know some people like to see some of the restaurants, see some of the things, the sites and stuff like that. I don't really want to do that for this trip. Sometimes I travel, not a lot, but sometimes I do. And for this one, I decided to dedicate all of my free time to becoming a better content creator. Let me tell you what I'm working on. So in the evenings, I have been sitting down here, getting on my computer, and using a few different tools to try to get better. Primarily AI, but there's also some new tools I learned actually from using AI that are not AI that have been really helpful in this process. But I've been dedicating that evening time and even the weekend, because I'm also here over one of the weekends, to just strictly get better. So I've been watching videos on YouTube about topics that I'm interested in that I want to get better at. If I want to get better at making thumbnails, if I want to get better at storytelling, then I've been watching videos on that and spending a lot of time on YouTube watching those videos. So I watch those videos, and then what I do is I utilize ChatGPT. You may be familiar with ChatGPT, but I utilize that to ingest the transcription of that video and put it in ChatGPT so I can get the notes out of that video. So a lot of people like to handwrite notes, but this makes it a lot easier for me to keep the organization, because if I use ChatGPT to go and basically produce the notes, it makes it faster for me. Because then through this process, I learned a new little trick. I started using this thing called Notion, which is like this free online thing where you can kind of like do all sorts of productivity stuff and be able to kind of create all sorts of things inside of there. So I've been kind of like cataloging everything, including my notes and my ideas inside of there, because this way I don't have to carry around a notebook. It's available on my phone, it's available on my computer, and it's way easier for me to be able to kind of do things. So every time I learn something new, put it in ChatGPT, create the notes, put those notes into Notion, so that way I can kind of reference that and kind of utilize that in my process. Now, one of the things I recently learned about was these pillars. So I guess apparently a lot of businesses do this, but you create these 5, 10, whatever pillars that are related to your content. So I created like 7 pillars that I use for creating content. So then anytime I'm trying to create like a video and trying to come up with ideas, I think about those pillars and think about, do they actually satisfy the objective of those pillars? So that's the thing I've been learning during this time frame as well. During this time, I really haven't created that much content. I'm creating this video. I created one video for my kind of primary, Christopher Chaos channel. But otherwise, the rest of the time, I've just been dedicated the time to learning. And that's what I wanted to kind of do during this time frame, was just dedicate this time to learn, right? I always have so much kind of focus on trying to like make content and not really dedicating enough time to learn to make better content, because you always can learn more, right? I think about it from my military days. We always had to do professional development, and you'd have that maybe once a month, once a week, whatever it was. Well, I haven't really been doing that with content creation. So I thought about it with that kind of mindset of kind of creating essentially my own professional development, spending some time to learn that. Now, outside of this, I think I'll need to do that more often as well, because sure, I'm kind of just dumping it all in there, doing it all right now at once, where I need to try to fit that in, and probably weekly, monthly, something, to always try to find something to get better at. This is probably something you can apply to anything, right? If you're not a content creator, but you have a different type of job, it's probably important to try to, always try to get better at it, right? Maybe get you a raise, maybe you're doing it for yourself for personal satisfaction, but I think you got to find that time to always try to get better, improve on something, right? You don't have to become necessarily a master. I mean, sure, that's probably great, but try to find something you can just improve a little bit on. Sometimes that improvement may not get you more money or get you anything else specifically, but maybe it makes your job easier because now you're better at it. And so that's a good payoff. I gotta say, it is humid here in Kansas, so we're going back to the hotel. So while I don't want to be away from my family, definitely trying to make sure that I utilize the time wisely and use it the best that I can, I guess. Simply just being like distraction free has been great. It's been good. I miss my family, of course, but it's been great to be distraction free for the most part. And just really kind of just focusing on what I need to focus on. I've got a lot of stuff done. I've made some good progress that hopefully I can be able to use the tools that I'm learning and be able to apply that to all my content. So we'll see how it all kind of pays off. The key thing here is to try to make the best of different situations. You're away from home, you're away from family, maybe use it to be productive, right? You can't be with the family members that you're normally trying to spend time with. Make the best of it by filling that time with something to be productive. Or maybe you're just filling it with some time to be a little lazy and take a little bit of a break. So, hopefully you got something out of that. I hope. I don't know. All right.